G'day folks. Well, time for part 2 of the tyre machine repairs. Main aim of the game tonight is to stop this front main seal from leaking. Either I'm going to have to replace it with a proper one, or at least push a similar replacement in there or something. Just do what I did with the last one and shove an O-ring inside the V. Who knows? Being an unusual kind of cylinder, I don't expect to be able to find spares for it, so yeah, if I can't tear it apart and get it to work again, I'm going to have to replace it with a modern replacement. But being such a large diameter and short stroke, it's going to be fairly expensive or hard to find another one. So yeah, let's hope this all goes to plan, or, well, yeah, not going to be good if I can't fix it. Okay, so it's a very differently designed cylinder to what I'm used to. There's a moulded plastic end plate inside of the steel one. The steel one's just a retainer, really. It's interesting. The air fitting's screwed directly into the plastic. There's the piston. And, yeah. Take the last of the through bolts out. Yeah, there's another plastic end plate in the front. I've marked everything accordingly, so it should all go back together the same way. There was some nasty grit in there though. Some really nasty grit. The oil and water's normal, but the cylinder feels like it's got some score marks in it. It's mainly the front seal that I'm worried about though. Looks like a Teflon bush. Interesting. Very interesting. Being a fairly proprietary looking cylinder, I don't like my chances of getting parts for it, but I'll try and reseal that, even if I have to bore the plastic out and fit a standard metric seal kit. If I can get a standard seal kit that'll fit it, or even pillage one off one of the new old stock cylinders that I've got, it shouldn't be too hard. This thing is fairly worn. Like, the piston's still doing its job, but everything's fairly well scored. The rod's scored, the cylinder walls are scored, as you can see there. The piston, the gritty stuff that I found in there is rust from the piston itself. You can even see there's rust underneath the rubber coating on it, a lot of it. So yeah, when this thing goes, the machine's probably toast. Unless I can find a short, stubby cylinder that I can drop in as a replacement. Not impossible, I can certainly get one made up. If I want to spend some dollars, I'll just get Festo or SMC to make a short, stubby little cylinder like this from scratch, and it'll just drop straight in. But I'm talking a good few $100s to do that. So it's not impossible. The machine wouldn't be scrap, but somebody'd have to invest a few $100 getting a replacement cylinder made up. But for the time being, I'm going to clean everything up, and it looks like a standard, same kind of seal that I encountered on the table clamp. So if I pop that acetal bushing out, I'll be able to shove an O-ring in between the two of them, and hopefully that'll force that V harder against the shaft and prevent shaft to bush leakage, which is never a good thing. You always want your shaft to travel through the bushing nicely sealed and well lubricated. Okay, so after a bit of stuffing around with seals and things, I managed to find a combo that works at least reasonably well. There's still a tiny leak down there, but I think it's in one of the valves. Everything else seems to work fine now. I just got to swap these hoses around because it's running the opposite direction. So apart from that, it can all go back together again, and it's working. very good. All that's new. I did that when I first got it, and all in there is new. So, very good. This clamp cylinder does leak a little bit, but there's not much I can do about that. I believe it's a diaphragm type cylinder. I could try and pull it apart, but it leaks such a little amount. Yeah, it's coming from the side there. You can see it moving in and out. That's just to stop that from moving. Yeah, it's not bad. Anyway, I'll disconnect it, depressurize it, and we'll get the cylinder back in, hook it up the right way around, and we should be right. Alright, so I've got a 1 horsepower VFD on order. I'm not going to use the other 2 that I've got because they're set up for portable work, and they're generally 2 horsepower and above. I only really need 1 horse for this 3/4 horse motor. I haven't stripped the 3-phase gear out of it just yet, but that'll be next. I just want to make sure the pneumatics work, starting with, let's break the bead on one of the Daewoo's old tyres. It's a decent tyre, it's just got a puncture somewhere. It does go flat, but it's still a good second-hand tyre with a good bit of tread on it, so we'll keep it. Well, that might help if I put the nut and washer back on the bead breaker rod. It might actually do something. There it is. Yeah, it might help if I clean this up and put it back on. Idiot. I can't believe I missed that bit. Alright, so now the rod's actually connected to the arm. Let's see if it actually works. It should work better now it's connected. There we go. Heaps better. Come on. There we go. There we go. Easy. Almost fully broken. You just push that off by hand. Yeah, bead breaker works and doesn't leak like a sieve anymore. That's good. All I need is a 3-phase VFD to arrive roughly next week. Wire up the motor to 240 volt delta. Just basically rip out all of the 3-phase wiring as it is and just go from scratch. So this switch here is only changing the drive's direction through its own low voltage control. So it'll be plus 10 volts to forward or plus 10 volts to reverse, as well as plus 10 volts to start and stop. So there are a few commands that I have to give it using this one switch, but it's not hard, it's really easy. You've got all the inputs on the drive, you just got to work out what switch does what and what polarity, and it should work just fine. So I'll convert this completely to 240 volt. The drive itself, I'll mount, could even end up on the far side of the cabinet because there's more space on that wall. I don't want it on this side here because it's a slatted open cover, and it'll allow dirt and other stuff to get into the drive. Unless I shield the drive. If I put a sheet metal shield over the top of the drive and just allow enough room for air, any dust and debris that falls down there shouldn't end up in it. Yeah, not too sure. Either way, I'll find a safe spot to put the 3-phase VFD, and yeah, it'll be a fully single-phase and air-operated unit rather than a 3-phase, which is kind of silly for a 3/4 horsepower motor. And that's it, it's just a 3/4 horse motor. I could swap the motor to single phase, but then there are frame and size issues, trying to get the belts and everything to line up, and nah, screw it. I'd rather just spend 150 bucks on a VFD. That way it makes it a very practical and useful machine for pretty much any home mechanic or hobbyist. If I don't keep it, I'll sell it or rent it out to anyone who can use it. Anyway, thanks for watching and stay tuned for more. Everything seems to work just fine on this. It's good. Only thing it's missing is plastic shoes for alloy wheels, particularly modern ones. The company that had this got rid of it because it's no good for modern alloys or low profile tyres. But for old steelies and old alloys where you don't mind a little bit of a mark on them, doesn't matter. But ideally, if you've got a nice shiny new alloy, don't use a machine like this because you will scratch it.